Welcome to episode 8 of my vlog. I'm starting to get some good feedback, quality feedback, which is great. Still privately, but let's not get bogged down with that too much. I wrote a blog yesterday on, I think I called it attracting talent to the coaching world. So if you haven't seen that, it's www.theservicebox.com. Go to the journal tab and you'll see it under the blog. It's the latest one. And I've had quite a lot of feedback. It was interesting because I wrote it. I don't know if that makes a difference, but maybe it makes or helps people reflect a little bit better. So I had a great message from an Australian coach this morning who mentioned, amongst many great things, he said the term middlemen, and I knew exactly what he was meaning, and it's a slight bugbear of mine. So I'm going to run through what I think about that and maybe offer an alternative which may help even create an industry, because I had, as I said in the blog, I had a great email from pal and colleague Andrew Hall, who now coaches in Berlin, who said maybe industry is too strong a term because we actually don't have the infrastructure to call ourselves an industry, which I think is a great point. But if anything, it actually echoes the need for change. So here's my thought. This, in case you don't know what I mean by middlemen, it's become more and more common, I would say, the last 7 or 8 years in coaching in the UK. I don't know what it's like elsewhere, that established or experienced coaches are getting clusters of small clubs and farming out young, let's say, less experienced coaches to create programs in those clubs. Great idea. I think there's no problem about creating almost like a satellite type venues. That's fine. The issue I have is what it leads to in terms of that coach development. So I put some figures together and I'm going to float an idea, and you can pick the bones of the idea. I'm no mathematician, so don't get all Carol Vorderman on my ass. But here goes. So first of all, let's clear up this middleman thing. What I mean is that, let's say a coach has a team and he farms out, let's say, one coach to a local club. Let's say that the club members pay £5 each. There's 8 in a class. The £40 would go to the kind of main man or woman, and the coach might get paid, say it's £15. So that coach makes £25 an hour by supplying a coach. Now, of course, there's other costs: time, marketing, website, just using their expertise, if you like, or reputation to get out there. So I'm not suggesting that it's 25 quid absolute clear profit. It might be you supply the balls, equipment, and so on. So it's that kind of principle I'm talking about. So my idea is, instead of just skimming off the top of these coaches, why not employ them? Dun, dun, dun. So that's maybe a bit too extreme, I don't know. But you get 11.5 grand allowance before you pay tax. So let's just use that figure. Let's say that I took on a coach and I gave them a salary of £11,500. Now, I think there might be a new regulation, in fact I know it, that you have to, as an employer, I would have to pay the pension of that, but it would be minuscule. So let's go with the figure 11.5 grand. Let's average that out. Let's say that my employee works 46 weeks of the year, and I just want them to work, say, 18 hours a week. Say it's half a kind of full-time contract. So 46 weeks works out 250 quid a week. So I have to pay 250 quid a week to this part-time coach over 46 weeks. Already my maths is a bit off, but you'll get the gist of it. So the 9 hours on court, I want them to work. So that's what I want. I want them to be on court coaching. It might be by themselves or as part of a tandem or team. For 9 hours, that's 3 hours a day for 3 days of the week. And I'm going to take in £40 an hour, times the 9 hours a week. That's £360 that I will take in. say if I work 12-week terms times 3, that normally works out across the board around that 36 weeks a year. I would take £12,960 in. So already I am £1,460 up. Okay, that sounds like quite a good deal. If somebody came to me and said, right, you have to employ them, they'll do 9 hours on court for you a week, you get £1,460 in the bank. Of course, I have to work to create that work for them and so on. So there's a cost there. Now, I could go down the other road and I could just pay them, say, £15 an hour. And if I do that, my outlays would actually only be £4,860 a year, which would actually give me £8,100 of profit. So now you're thinking I'm a madman. You're thinking I'm suggesting this employed route where I make 1,460 versus 8,100. Now, let's imagine that I also give this coach 10 weeks of camps a year, 6 or 7 in the summer, couple in Easter, 1 in October, whatever. There might be Christmas holiday camps and so on. So let's say it works out at 10 weeks or 10 times 5 days. My suggestion would be I would profit share for that coach, because I know what it feels like to have been a young coach and been paid an hourly rate for holiday camps, and it is like dirt poor money for what you do. Holiday camps are the hardest work that you'll ever do in terms of responsibility, occupying large groups of people, different standards, different ages, for like could be from 9 till 5 every day, Monday to Friday. By Friday night you are gone. So I think they deserve to be rewarded for that. So I would agree some sort of profit share. Let's go for 9 hours that coach is going to either shadow me, learn from me, meet with me. Let's say that they run some internal competition at the clubs, that they essentially get a real quality apprenticeship. The reality is I think that coach would probably go above the 18 hours because of the investment that I would give to them in terms of my time, getting them to be comfortable with my philosophies and methods. That would be quite a valuable learning experience, hopefully. So that would be the 18 hours. They're getting 11.5 grand for that. Let's imagine that on average they make another 10 hours a week where they make £20 an hour. Could be individual lessons, could be small groups and so on. £200 times 36 weeks is another £7,200. So they're up already. If I could find a way that they could make £500 a week in those 10 weeks, maybe even more, that is another 5 grand. So already they're up to £23,700 income, and they're not really that hard pushed in terms of time. They're not working 7 days a week. If I had an employee, I would insist that they worked an absolute maximum of 6 days, preferably 5. And I would try and ensure that they have one weekend day off, or maybe have a rota with other coaches that they could occasionally get 2 weekend days off and so on. Now, the benefits of this employed route would be sense of team, sense of belonging. Someone is investing heavily in them. As much as I might present this to them and they know that I'm going to make my money back, if not make a profit on them, it's still me that has to pay it out regardless of whether they work or not. So a sense of team, sense of belonging, definite sense of growth, and hopefully a sense of loyalty. Hopefully that coach would learn a lot in those early years, and they would feel some sort of loyalty towards me. I could give them promotions, I could start bumping it up, so of course I have to pay tax on top of the allowance. I could then eventually have that coach mentor other younger coaches because they understand how I work. So that is one idea. Now, you may be watching this and thinking, what a load of nonsense. I may have missed out things. There might be things in those figures that are wrong because I'm not really great on math. These were just things I knocked up in like 10-20 minutes. So, what do you think about that idea? What if we could create that around the UK? what difference would it make? You might think it would make no difference, but I know for a fact that this idea of just farming out coaches and skimming off the top of them and not training them actually makes our industry worse, because they are left to their own devices. The quality is poor. There's no quality control. People in the clubs don't know, in the best will in the world, they don't know a good coach from a bad coach. So it means that people might think what they're getting is quality, but we know as experienced coaches that it might not be the best. So food for thought, give it some thought, feedback privately, or if you've got the balls, or I can't say balls now because if you've got the guts, then feedback and publicly, and share. I actually don't necessarily want to spend hours on Facebook. That's not what I want to get out of this. I want you to speak with other coaches. So don't think that you're engaging with me. Engage with other coaches. Just chat. Come up with solutions. Don't just talk about the problems. Come up with the solutions. And perhaps maybe one of these days the ideas that we have will actually become the industry norm. But I cannot, in my lifetime, or cannot dedicate my career to something, or my life to something, and have it be as shambolic as it is at the moment. So, there you go. Play about with the figures, give me your feedback, and let me know what you think. Okay? Until then, take care. Bye-bye.